Restless beautiful women, seductive melodious sounds, under the fierce collision between the abyss of desire and the upholding of justice, what choice will the hot-blooded male police officer make? On a New York night, young people are immersed in the bar nightlife. However, the sudden arrival of the police instantly disrupts everyone's mood. The Vice Enforcement Unit is carrying out a strict crackdown here, and several couples are taken out of the narrow compartments by the police, causing the scene to fall into chaos. Just then, a prostitute named Lisa suddenly stops a police officer, insisting that she had just narrowly escaped being assaulted by a murderer, and demanding that the police thoroughly investigate the matter. But the Vice team thinks the other party is just trying to avoid arrest and doesn't pay attention, but Lisa pesters everyone in order to get rid of her. The Vice team can only find Taylor from the Special Victims Unit to handle the matter. Taylor doubts Lisa's words. Seeing that the other party doesn't believe her, Lisa quickly lifts her hair to show her neck. Benson from the Special Case Unit bends down to check carefully, but finds no injuries. Just as the two are half believing Lisa's story, a police officer hurries over and calls Benson and the other person away. Lisa follows them to the bathroom, and loses control of her emotions when she sees the body. The police quickly launch an investigation and confirm that the victim is named Laura, only 23 years old. She has been engaged in a special occupation at this place for the past year and has 2 arrest records. The preliminary autopsy report shows that Laura was assaulted before her death, but there are no sperm in her body, suggesting that the murderer took safety measures during the crime. At the same time, as the only witness who has seen the murderer's face, the police draw a portrait of the murderer based on Lisa's description, but Lisa is quite dissatisfied with the progress of the investigation, thinking that the police have no intention of assisting their group. Worried that she will be the next victim, she begins to complain in an emotional outburst. However, while she is complaining, she reveals an important clue.
Society's version of a woman. We're at risk and nobody cares.
The sharp-eyed Benson captures this key information, and following the clue, Benson and Taylor quickly find a nun to question. The other party says that her job is quite similar to that of the police, but the group she protects are girls engaged in special occupations. They have jointly drawn up an internal memorandum, listing all violent clients on a blacklist to ensure that everyone can take care of each other and jointly prevent risks. However, when Taylor tries to obtain their identity information, the nun firmly refuses. She says that if this information is leaked, no one will dare to come and seek shelter. In the future, in desperation, Taylor has to hand his business card to the nun, and return to the police station with Benson. On the other side, the forensic doctor tells Tutu and March the test results. Laura suffered from multiple illnesses at a young age, and even if she had survived, she would have basically lost her fertility in the future, because no fingerprints were found on Laura's neck injuries, but crescent-shaped marks were found instead. The forensic doctor speculates that the murderer was very likely wearing clothes with metal buckles, and used his forearm to press Laura against the wall, causing her to suffocate to death. And judging from the strangulation marks on her neck, Laura was hung with a belt after death. This major discovery instantly narrows down the pool of suspects, but a shocking news follows. March suddenly gets a call from the captain, learning another body has been found murdered in the same manner. The three rush to the scene, and find the victim hanging mid-air in the same pose. Judging by the clothing and chaotic scene, the victim is likely also a sex worker. The forensic doctor is thrilled. This fingerprint was likely left when the killer accidentally got blood on their hand during the murder. The captain cross-references the criminal database, and quickly identifies the suspect as Daniel, who served time for assault years ago, and was released 3 years prior. More shockingly, Daniel's ex-girlfriend was the one who reported him back then, and both the ex-girlfriend and the victim share the trait of being blonde. Tutu speculates Daniel intended to retaliate against his ex-girlfriend, but she'd moved away. Unable to carry out his revenge, he took out his anger on other blonde women. Taylor says gravely, the deranged Daniel will definitely target new victims to stop further killings. Benson and Taylor visit the nun again. She initially refuses but finally reveals the girl's address, and a key clue under pressure. A perverted man has been harassing the girls lately. Benson and Taylor rush to the hotel, Taylor shows Daniel's photo to the owner, who exclaims, "That's the man in the room." With confirmation, they burst in. A terrified woman crouches sobbing as Taylor checks Daniel. He's already dead. The woman is rushed to the hospital. After her exam, Benson and Taylor question her. The woman, named Ellie, is also a sex worker, but once she and Daniel entered the room, she was suddenly violently attacked. Prepared, Daniel immediately assaulted Ellie and even pulled out a gun. Ellie fought for her life, accidentally knocking the gun loose in the scuffle. She grabbed it and killed Daniel in self-defense. Meanwhile, Taylor tells Prosecutor Cross, the hospital confirms Ellie has a concussion and lacerations. Given Daniel's notorious crimes, police rule her actions justifiable self-defense. Cross decides not to prosecute. Everyone thinks the case is closed, until a key forensics discovery reverses the situation. Forensics tells March and Tutu. Careful comparison shows the bullet hole in Ellie's shooting case highly resembles one from a cold case 6 months ago. This suggests Daniel was also the killer in the cold case, but March and Tutu are grim. Daniel was in prison 6 months ago, so he couldn't have done it. Police debate the doubtful point. March speculates, Daniel got the gun after his release, but Tutu questions, both owners of this gun died horribly, it's too coincidental. Taylor believes, Ellie is the real mastermind. After hearing their reasoning, the captain decides to start with the cold case, and prepare to re-interrogate Ellie, but March reveals, Ellie left the hospital, and all her ID is fake. Ellie's suspicion skyrockets, and the team splits up to investigate. After deep investigation, Benson finds multiple charges on the cold case victim's credit card, made by a blonde woman claiming to be his wife. The small amounts didn't alert the bank, but Benson spots a $400 charge from a toy store, raising suspicion the killer may be raising a child. Meanwhile, March and Tutu learn Ellie called a daycare center. In the early morning from the hospital, the daycare director says, she often watches Ellie's son at night. Ellie took her son on vacation. She's a great mother. Back at the station, the team reassesses. March says, as a sex worker, Ellie can't afford $100 per night for a nanny. Benson further finds 6 homicide cases in the Vice District involving stolen credit cards, include toy store purchases, and the killers are still at large. These cases weren't linked before. First, no one expected the killer to be female. Second, the diverse, unpatterned modus operandi differed entirely from typical serial killers. Just then, psychologist Dr. Wang disagrees. He believes Ellie likely suffered psychological trauma, making her feel harmed around these men, and driving her to counterattack in self-defense. Taylor immediately retorts. He claims Ellie's post-murder shopping sprees resemble celebrations of her killings, suggesting financial gain as the motive. More troublingly, since Daniel had no credit cards after release, Ellie may have killed for financial gain, and could strike again. But another murder occurs. The car scene is horrific. Benson finds 6 stab wounds on the victim, and surprisingly, cash and credit cards are missing from the wallet. To avoid panic, the body is rushed to the morgue, and Benson's team returns to the station. The autopsy shows the man was killed during a transaction. Benson then finds a recent high-value hotel charge on the victim's missing American Express card. With this info, the SVU rushes to the hotel.
Clear. Put the baby down.
No guns, please, no guns.
In the original film, Ellie is caught red-handed, and Benson takes the child from her arms. In interrogation, Dr. Wang administers a psychological test. Asked about her childhood, Ellie says sadly her mother died young, and her father abused her while drunk, causing memory loss, paranoia, and no recall of the murders or how she got to the hotel. But Dr. Wang sees through the lie. Concluding she's not mentally ill, just feigning innocence, he suggests having Taylor talk to her to observe how she reacts to different people. As expected, Ellie transforms upon seeing handsome Taylor, switching from pitiful to flirtatious, even seizing control of the conversation. More incredibly, Ellie stages a wild scene in the interrogation room. Since the footage is too shocking to show here, check the original film if interested. The captain halts the interrogation, fearing things will go too far. After watching Ellie's performance, Dr. Wang analyzes, she's highly manipulative, skilled at exploiting weaknesses, and can perform based on others' personalities, classic histrionic antisocial personality. Targeting violent men lets her portray herself as a victim for sympathy, yet she's overly confident she can control all men. Dr. Wang believes the key is to expose her lies and shatter her confidence. Benson volunteers to enter the interrogation room. As a woman, Benson instantly strips Ellie of control. Ellie reluctantly dresses and returns to her seat. Benson presents evidence, exposing all lies. Ellie's mother is alive and also a sex worker. Her father's identity is unknown, so there was no abuse. Caught in her lies, Ellie frantically asks about her child. Trying to play the loving mother, Benson replies bluntly, "For murdering 6 people, you'll be sentenced to death. You'll never see your child again." Ellie collapses in tears. Taylor rushes in and restrains her. Prosecutor Cross states Ellie's DNA was found in all 6 cases. She'll pay a heavy price, but a tough issue remains. Cross has applied to the death penalty board, demanding Ellie receive the death penalty. Dr. Wang responds gravely, "No woman has ever been sentenced to death in New York. Her status as a single mother might make judges lenient." Just then, an accident occurs. The Ellie murder case sparks widespread public debate. Feminist groups voice opposition to the death penalty, putting Cross in a dilemma. Meanwhile, in the courtroom, Ellie's lawyer calls a doctor to present medical records proving past assaults, and even brings in one victim's wife. The wife accuses her husband of long-term infidelity and domestic violence, stating she feels no sorrow for his death. It's a relief. When Ellie takes the stand, she confesses to the murders but claims necessity to support her son. "If I didn't act, those men would have killed me." In court, she weeps dramatically, showcasing her acting skills again. Ellie successfully portrays herself as a vulnerable victim, moving the jury deeply. At this rate, police can only charge her with second-degree murder, meaning Ellie could be freed in years. The precinct falls into a passive position. Just then, Benson's discovery turns the case around, calculating by the son's age. Ellie should have given birth in April 2 years ago, but medical records show no pregnancy. Science then, this proves the child isn't biologically hers. With this clue, Cross goes to the prison to negotiate, but Ellie keeps up the act despite the evidence. Cross states bluntly, "A mother was killed in a parking lot a year and a half ago, money untouched, but her 6-month-old son vanished." Paternity tests confirm Ellie's son is that missing boy. Caught in another lie, Ellie remains arrogant, demanding to know the child's whereabouts. Learning the boy was returned to his biological father, she falls into despair and follows the officer to her cell. At the next day's hearing, Ellie doesn't appear. Officers learn of an accident. Benson and Taylor rush to the prison to find a shocking scene. Ellie, with perfect makeup, has ended her criminal life. To the end, she kept up her performance. This twisting, controversial serial murder case ends with this dramatic finale. The film uses Vice District murders as a hook, with twists and turns. As a histrionic antisocial criminal, Ellie manipulates others through masterful disguise. It explores human darkness, social class struggles and the profound question of how justice should act amid public opinion and complex humanity, blending suspense with intellectual depth. If you like this channel, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe.